Hey folks, Scully Nomad here, hope you are well. Today we're going to do a boat tour video of my neighbour's boat here. So if you are interested in boat tour videos, I do have a video of my boat too, if you want to watch after. But we're going to learn a little bit about Mike's boat. We're going to learn a bit about Mike and his sailing plans too, about his upgrades and all that good stuff.
Before we jump on board, we'll do a quick walkthrough. The boat is a Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 45.2, which Mike will tell you all about shortly. It has a spray hood with a full cockpit enclosure. For you non-boaters, it's basically the big canopy with windows on the back of the boat. Inside the enclosure you have a lot of space, and Mike being a great entertainer, he sure does need it. This is the main living space with the kitchen and hangout area. As we make our way to the front of the boat, you have a large V-berth. Remember, this is just a quick walkthrough, and Mike's going to show you both the outside and inside of the boat. The boat has two heads which both have showers inside and they're identical to each other. There are 3 designated sleeping areas, with the aft cabins being a mirror image of each other.
I will do the meet the captain, so tell us your name and...
Captain. I'm definitely captain.
Definitely captain.
Okay, so my name is Mike. This is kind of my boat, I suppose. I joint own it with my wife, Alison. I work in cyber security and my wife's a teaching assistant.
How did you get into boating?
I used to run a company, my own company, a long time ago, and myself and my business partner went to see our accountant, and our accountant suggested that we spend some money. And if we didn't spend the money, then we would write a check and give it to the tax man. So we decided that we were going to spend some money, and I asked him whether or not I could buy a boat, and he kind of quite cagily said, well, are you going to take your clients out on the boat? I said, no. He said, yes. I said, oh yes, I am going to take my clients on the boat. So that was probably about 17 years. So I bought a Fairline Holiday motorboat. Bought it from Southampton and had it shipped down to Cardiff on the back of a trailer. Back when we had Cambrian Marina, so it was down the river, and it's now the Whitewater Rafting Centre, all changed. But yeah, that was my first introduction to having my own boat. I'd sailed before. I'd had kind of lots of on the water experience when I was in the army, but that was the first boat that I owned. I kind of sold the boat after having it for a number of years. I think the one thing that you learn when you own a motorboat is just how much they cost to move. For example, we're in Cardiff and we got to Swansea on the motorboat. We went on a little fishing trip once, and from here to Swansea and kind of back again, really, I used about £300 in fuel.
How many litres that would have been?
Oh crikey, I've got no idea.
Would you say one full tank?
Yeah, probably one full tank. I can't remember how big the tank was on that motorboat. It certainly cost me a good few £100 on that boat.
That was back in the day as well.
That was back in the day as well, yeah, when fuel was cheaper.
Yeah. So how many boats have you owned?
So I've owned 3 boats, if you include the Fairline Holiday motorboat I just mentioned. My first sailing boat was a Moody 32, I think. I actually bought it from Cardiff Bay Yacht Club and then moved it to Penarth Marina. I had friends there and I hadn't really met anybody at Cardiff Bay Yacht Club yet, so I put it over there. It was a fantastic boat. Moody's have a very, very good reputation. They're very strong, well-built sailing boats. It was a very tidy boat, and it made me realise how much I love sailing, how much I love being on the water, and how much I wanted to pursue my dreams of kind of sailing around the world. But it was tiny and there was no room inside.
Could you stand up all the way? You
could stand up all the way. Getting out of the V-berth was like you had just been born. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The boat stank of diesel because it was so much smaller. The engine was kind of older, and there wasn't any fun. It only had the V-berth and then call them like bunk. Beds, if you like, but there was no bedrooms or anything. There wasn't a very good shower, and yeah, it just wasn't very good. Even before having that sailing boat, I did a lot of sailing. I helped out with a friend who's had a boat down in Lydney, did lots of kind of being around boats, and I didn't do that much actual getting out and sailing, but lots of boat preparation and kind of theory and that kind of stuff. We bought this boat when we realised that we did want to spend more time on the water and we did want to go places. My wife at the time was not happy about any of those things, and I asked her if it was you know, if it was the boat, and it was partially the boat. Now, bear in mind that that was probably 5 years ago that we had that boat. I think well, maybe 6 years ago. I've had this boat for 5 years. Having a mutual agreement of whether I could spend the money or not, I went out and bought this boat. So this is my third boat, and hopefully last, unless I win the lottery, and then maybe a catamaran might be on the horizon. But yeah, this boat is much better and built much kind of, there's many more luxuries on this boat. Yeah, and we're comfortable of sailing further afield on this.
So Mike, do you have any qualifications?
Well, I've got a couple of GCSEs, if that's what you're asking about. And,
Sailing ones.
Sailing qualifications, yeah. Okay, so sailing qualifications. I do have some qualifications. I have my VHF qualification, which is the actual, it's the only qualification that legally you need. I've also got my ICC, which is my International Certificate of Competence, I think it stands for.
Can you charter boats abroad with that?
You can, yeah. The ICC is the one that you need to be able to charter boats abroad. It's kind of world recognised. Again, it's a bit strange. The whole qualifications of boating, you don't actually need any qualifications to own a boat and go and sail it.
Like me.
Like Scott. But, you know, if you've spent a lot of money, which I have on this boat, and you care about it and the people on it, you probably should do qualifications. Yeah. So I've also done my day skipper, and I'm currently doing my yacht master. Nothing better than experience. That you know, the qualifications are one thing, but clocking up the miles, being out there, making the mistakes, learning from those mistakes, that's the important thing. Here in the Bristol Channel, it's notoriously one of the worst places to sail in the world.
Second largest tidal range.
Yeah, second highest tidal range.
We'll move on to about the boat. So what type of boat is it?
Well, it's a sailing boat.
Yep.
It is a Jeanneau 45.2 Sun Odyssey. So a Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 45.2. So it's 45-foot boat. This is a 2003 model, which is good. I think later than somewhere around 2006, 2007, I think it was, they started making boats that were a little bit cheaper because people weren't buying boats as much. So the older models are actually built better. As you can see in this boat, there's a lot more wood than plastic.
New ones are compact laminate now, aren't they?
That's right, yeah. And the kind of, the boat itself, the GRP and the boat is at a different kind of higher rate.
Is it a Kevlar energized?
Kevlar, again.
Kevlar energized, yeah.
Scott will tell you more about that, but
Very
yeah. Yeah, I bought the boat. It had one owner from new, which was fantastic, and he had already done a lot of things to make the boat livable.
Do you know what type of storage you have on here, like water and fuel? And
Yeah, I've got 2 water tanks, which give me 600 litres of fresh water. I also have 2 waste tanks on each of the heads, which is very important for sailing in the Med. If you don't have waste tanks, then you can't get into many marinas over there. You
can get fined as well.
Yeah, so I've got 2 60-litre waste tanks. Then I have a 300-litre diesel tank on here. Batteries, yeah, so currently I have 4 280 amp hour leisure batteries, which I did buy second hand, which is not advisable. However, the person that was selling them hadn't had them that long, and for kind of cruising at home, it was a good option to the batteries that I had. And then I also have 1 separate engine starter battery, which is completely separate from my leisure batteries.
We'll talk about upgrades, why not?
Upgrades, yeah, okay.
So you want to do your batteries?
Yeah, I'm going to do the batteries.
Lithium?
Yeah, lithium batteries. I intend on 3 new lithium batteries in here for the leisure batteries, and then replacing my charger. So get a DC to DC battery charger. Yeah. Lithium batteries are just, you know, the way forward. They charge better. Now, yeah, you can kind of run them down much better. They last much longer. They charge quicker. Obviously, you've seen the solar panels. That was a big upgrade. I do intend on putting some more solar on here. I might go for a flexible solar panel, or I might go for some wing solar panels.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I've got 2 MMPTs on the boat, so I can put more panels into those. I am going to get a water maker. It's a portable water maker. You know, you can kind of take it around places. You can kind of... welcome to the inside of Dione. It's definitely a home from home. We certainly have made a good start of making our own mark on the boat. Still so much to do, but I'll tell you about that in a bit. Give you a very quick tour. So obviously what you're seeing right now is the main saloon. We have kind of our seating area over here. This middle section is where we used to have a bench chair, but I removed the bench chair and fitted this unit, which you'll see a bit later on. But this is where I store my TV. Obviously, we want to live aboard, so having comforts and luxuries like TV is really important to us. Got a full kitchen, which is great. We've got loads of space for kitchen kind of preparation kind of stuff. We've got a 3-hob cooker. We've got a built-in fridge, which is great. An ice maker and certain other kind of things. We got 2 cabins at the rear of the boat here. Both are pretty much the same. They're both double cabins. They're quite cozy. They come with kind of 3 or 2 cupboards, 2 double cupboards in each one. And yeah, they're both identical. I'll let Scott kind of show you in this one. It's probably the cleanest one. The idea when we live aboard is that one of these will be kept for guests, and the other cabin will be changed into a garage where we'll put a freezer and some other bits and bobs. Okay, so here's my kind of nav station, I guess they're called, but really it's my desk. One of the big considerations for me when we go away is working. I work remote. I need somewhere to work. So I've actually got a new monitor arm that's going to come, and I'm going to put that on there. And this is a fantastic place to work. I've got plenty of room for my laptop. Obviously, we're going to get Starlink at some point, so having internet anywhere in the world will be fantastic. But yeah, it's a really nice little desk there, and yeah, it's really important. Okay, so this is all of the controls, the switches for basically everything that is on the boat, both 12 volt and 230, plus my navigation instruments, my kind of engine lights, navigation lights, you name it. I've got my battery monitors here. I've got my 230 volt DC kind of indicator there. Things like I've got quite a few different battery monitors on here. This one is built in, but I also have the Victron battery monitor built in. This is my diesel heater, which I'm sure many of you will recognize. I have my VHF there as well. And yeah, a few other bits and bobs. This is a fish finder that came with the boat, which is useless because I can never catch any fish. But yeah, there's a bit of storage under the desk. Okay, so this is what most boats would call a V-berth. Actually, on this boat, this used to be 2 cabins. The previous owners have made it into 1, which is fantastic because we've now got a double bed. This is a proper full-size double mattress, which is fantastic. Much more room in here. We've got an ensuite, I suppose you'd call it. So we have a head here. We've got a shower, toilet, all that kind of stuff. You'll also see lots of movie references in this boat. We are big movie lovers, so we've done the boat up to our taster. Yep, keep on going down. Scott just turns around. You'll see that there is another head in this boat. So this is what we would call our guest head. I kind of think that this whole 45.2, I think the 0.2 indicates that it's got 2 heads. I might be wrong, but yeah, it's got 2 heads. And again, it's fantastic. So when you do have guests on board, they haven't got to bother you in the main cabin there. They can use the head here. I'm going to replace this with an electric toilet when I get around to it because guests don't know how to use boat toilets. So yeah, new electric toilet. I'll give you a quick kind of tour of I suppose the me of the boat. So you start over, you can see we're big kind of movie lovers. So I've got my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle picture. I've got a Superman picture there that's signed, and then just all sorts of stuff. We've got a picture of myself and Alison just over here, or Simpsonified, I suppose.
That's exactly how she looks.
Yeah, that's exactly how she looks. Through to things like my Simon Pegg kind of autograph over there. And then following that, I suppose the most important picture on the boat is the map of the world, which is there to remind us every time I look at it where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. Yeah, that's where we are right now. You'll also find on pretty much every boat of worth lots of alcohol, because alcohol and boating goes together very well, especially one that only goes around about kind of 4 or 5 knots. So, you know, you never have to worry about being knocked off your feet on a sailing boat. Life goes very slowly, and it goes quite nicely as well on a nice warm day with a bit of rum and Coke in your glass.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Don't drink and drive, yeah. Obviously, we have all of the normal safety features on the boat. We have kind of fire blankets, fire extinguishers, all of the things that you would expect to see on a boat, most of which is tucked away in its kind of own little house. I've got a fire extinguisher under the engine bay, which I'll show you a bit later on. Fire extinguisher over on the helm station there, the nav station, and there's a fire extinguisher in the cupboard at the front there. Okay, welcome to the outside of my boat. So starting here at the bow, got a fairly new anchor. It's well, a couple of years old now, but I lost my other one. That's another story. But this one is a Rockner 25 kilogram. It's fantastic. It's got one of the anti-roll bars on it, so it's brilliant. And then we go into my anchor locker here. I've got my windlass, and currently I have 50 meters of chain. I'll probably upgrade that before I go off into the med, or I'll probably get some rope on the end of it and do it that way. Okay, so this is my sail locker. It's a bit of bone of contention for me at the moment, because ever since I've had this boat, this sail locker gathers water at the bottom of the locker. Again, if you're watching and you have one of these boats and you've got any idea, there's been all sorts of suggestions, through condensation, right through to obviously leaking through the hatch. It's probably the most likely is that it's leaking through the hatch. But anyway, it's a sail locker. I store my my dinghy in there, and kind of fishing rods, spare line, poles, things like that. And the other thing of interest, I don't know if you can see this here, but I've actually insulated the back of this wall, because this wall is actually the aft cabin, and before I insulated it, it did used to get kind of condensation on the inside quite a lot. So I've insulated it with some foil-backed foam, and it's fantastic now. It doesn't kind of doesn't get condensation at all. It's nice and warm. So yeah, I'll tell you some more things about what I'm planning to do in that saloon to stop more condensation a bit later on. But that's the sail locker. Coming down the bow of the boat, I've got a new spinnaker pole, which I'm yet to use. I do have a spinnaker that came with the boat, so I am quite excited to get out and actually use that spinnaker. But yeah, for now it's just ready and sat there waiting. And then I suppose things on the outside of the boat that really do need attention. I need a new mainsail. Okay, so yeah, we talked a little bit earlier on about the in-mast furling. Some do, some don't. Mine does, and as I said earlier on, or later on, depending on how this video is edited, I love it. It's fantastic. When I sail, it's mostly myself and my wife, and certainly when we kind of go away, it's only going to be the two of us. So having an in-mast furling for me means that I haven't got to faff around. I haven't got to come out here onto the deck when we are sailing. We want to put the sail up. I haven't got to come and take the cover off and kind of refit. I can do all of that from inside the cockpit, which I'll show you in a second. But at the moment she's stuck, and that's because they used to make the sails in a slightly different way, and the shape was slightly different. Now they've got a better way of doing them, and when they kind of cut them, they don't get stuck as much. So yeah, new mainsail. And then I suppose the only other thing really that I'm going to be doing this year is I'm going to put a new hatch on here. These get old and kind of frail over the years, so this one's cracked. And as you can see, I've got some fantastic waterproof tape on there, but it doesn't work, it still drips. So new hatch, that's a Yacht hatch. I think I've got the right one. I think it's 2626. Maybe somebody else with the Jeanneau 45.2. If you're watching this and you think I'm wrong, you can let me know. But yeah, that's on order. So there are 10 hatches in this boat. These are the aft cabinette kind of bed hatches, I suppose. They're also quite big, so they do kind of double up as an escape route if you maybe lose a few pounds like I need to do. And then we've got some kind of forward hatches here just to provide some light. We've got these Yacht vents. Yeah, that'll do it. Thanks, Scott. And then we move down the boat. There are more hatches. We've got head hatches, saloon hatches, right through to kind of the main hatch again in the saloon for light. But yeah, they're a bit of a pain because they stopped making these hatches. So the ones that actually came with the boat, they've stopped making. So the only way forward is to try and match them, try and find ones that do fit. Yacht still do make hatches, but yeah, it's hard to find the exact ones. Obviously, going up the mast there as well, you'll also see that I've got a radar, which I do use a lot. I know a lot of people are kind of, unsure about having a radar on their boat, but yeah, I really do like using my radar. And then you go right up, I've got the wind vane at the top there, and then the all-important TV aerial. And then the jib is obviously on the front there. Yeah, got this line bag here, which was quite expensive when I bought it. It has faded in colour quite a lot, which is a bit kind of depressing considering how much it did cost. But it is still doing the job. It is fantastic. It means all the lines that were just sat on the deck there are now nicely tucked away in there. It's quick and easy to access it. You can get them out when you need to. But yeah, that's a really good kind of addition.
If you are looking to buy a sailboat, I do recommend you getting one which already includes a full cockpit enclosure. If you do watch my sailboat tour of my own boat, you will notice that I don't have one, and I really do want one, and they are very expensive to purchase.
Really where the party happens.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where the party happens. So yeah, welcome to the cockpit enclosure, I suppose. Very fortunate that when I bought this boat, it came with this enclosure. As you can see, it's a full enclosure. It's absolutely fantastic because not only does it keep downstairs warmer than it would without, it is an extra room. You can close the kind of covers up, have a little heater out here if it's winter and the whole thing warms up. You can certainly kind of entertain and sit up here so you can see what's going on. But also in the summer, it acts as a cover to protect you from the sun. It's absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't hesitate getting a new one. In fact, I do need a new one. So a couple of years from now, again, probably before the big trip, we'll get this done. This one's old. It's coming apart in lots of places. My lovely wife Alison has definitely tried to maintain it, but the moment she sews something up, something else kind of rips. But yeah, it's great to have, and if you've got one as well, it's a bit easier to get a new one made because you can use this one as like a template. There are things I would change on this. This one, for example, doesn't have zips down the edges here. So when it rains, the rain just gets in and kind of drips down and makes everything wet. So if I get a new one made, it'll have zips there, it'll have zips all along, so that we can protect from the rain. What else we got in the cockpit? Obviously, I've got the twin wheel, which is great. It's one of the reasons I bought this boat. If you moor up stern first, you can step in and out of the gate at the back here, which means you're going to climb up and down on the ladders, which is great. And of course, it gives you loads of room to walk up and down. It does also mean we got a his and hers kind of steering wheel, which I did tell my wife once, and she went white. She wasn't very happy about it. But no, these steering wheels obviously are for when you're leaning over, you can kind of go each side and figure out what you want to do. Because these two lockers here, port and starboard lockers, are big. I store extra fuel in these lockers, extra water. I used to have a diesel generator, built-in diesel generator in this locker, but it broke down, and I decided not to replace it because, number one, it was in the way and I couldn't get behind it, so I couldn't get to clutch cables and steering mechanisms and that kind of thing. It was a bit of a pain, and of course it takes up a hell of a lot of space. So I've decided to get rid of the built-in diesel generator. I am going to get a suitcase diesel generator just for a backup. Okay, cool. So I've got the Raymarine ST60 instruments on here. I've got three this side. I've got my wind, I've got my speed and my depth. Probably the most important is to have is the depth. And then I've got my autopilot. I've got obviously my built-in compass. I also have a repeater over on this side, which is a repeater for the depth and the speed. Again, the depth, certainly when you're coming into an anchorage or a marina or something, having your depth is really important, just to make sure that it is what the charts tell you it is. Obviously, one of the only disadvantages, I suppose, about this layup is that the throttle is over here. And it's the only one that's on the boat, so even if I am kind of steering or helming from the port side, if I do need to speed up or slow down, I've kind of come over to the starboard and kind of do it over there. It's a little bit of a pain, but you know, sailing boats, nothing happens very fast, so you know, you don't have to kind of jump around and worry and that kind of stuff. I am planning on upgrading the Raymarine. I'm going to stick with Raymarine because all my instruments are Raymarine. My sonar's Raymarine. My chart plotter is Raymarine as well. I'm going to stick with Raymarine, but I am going to upgrade the instruments to the later model. I just think that they look better, basically. Yeah, so this boat is the 45.2. It's rated for 10 people offshore. It's rated for 12 people inland coastal areas, and then 14 people kind of really, you know, in a very safe, close proximity to land. I think one of the big things about this boat is that it has a bulb on the keel. It has a massive bulb on the keel. I'll try and find a picture of it for you. It adds major stability to the boat, which makes her a better boat for offshore cruising. We're not going to get into that debate about whether, you know, production boats are good for offshore cruising or not. I've seen people go around the world in dinghies, so you know, people row across the Atlantic. Absolutely. You know, you can sail pretty much anywhere you want, providing you take the right precautions. This video is not about that. You know, maybe I'll do a video about that in a later date. But yeah, I guess all I'm trying to say right now is that I'm comfortable that this boat will take me where I want to go.
So tell us your short-term, medium and long-term sailing plans.
Okay, cool. So short-term, very short-term is local sailing. We're actually going on a family holiday this year, so most of my summertime. The problem I have with sailing is that, as I mentioned earlier, my wife is a school teacher, so we can currently only have off-school holidays, etc., which is kind of good and bad because obviously school teachers get 6 weeks off in the summer, which means that if I can work from the boat, we can certainly go sailing. So where we are, we've got the west coast. We can go from here up to Swansea, Lundy. We can go maybe over to Portishead or the south coast of England maybe. We'll go a bit further west and go to Barafundle or Skomer, Tenby, that kind of thing. So that's kind of short term really. That's we'll try and do as much as that as we can this year. Slightly longer term plans, I guess, is that next year, so 2026, the current intention is to sail to Scotland in kind of March time, spring. So the plan is that Alison will finish working at the end of this year. This all is down to, you know, whether my job continues, whether I'm doing okay, and all this kind of stuff. Is life gets in the way of sailing. But yeah, we're going to go to Scotland in kind of March, springtime, and then stay there till hopefully end of August, September maybe, and then we'll come home and spend kind of the latter part of the year with the family, and obviously Christmas and that kind of stuff. And then the year after that, so we're talking 2027, we'd like to do the same kind of thing, March, springtime, sail south and get across to the Med. The plan would be then to leave the boat in the Med, fly home again towards the end of September, October, really, and then
Just as
spend
it's
Christmas.
getting cold here.
Just as it's getting cold here, yeah. Well, we kind of do like Christmas and being at home with the family and that kind of stuff. So, and then long term, I guess. So we're into 2027. The year after that, after we've spent Christmas at home, we would go back to the boat, which we will hopefully have left somewhere in the Med, and plan long term. So, and long term, really, he says, looking at the map, is to cross the Atlantic. Spend some time up in the Bahamas and Florida Keys and that kind of thing. And then my ambitions are to go down towards the Amazon. I'd like to sail as far as I can up the Amazon. So if anybody has done that, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I've done a bit of research, obviously, and I believe I can go kind of quite far up the Amazon in this boat. Obviously, I've got a 2-meter keel. Anyway, from the Amazon back up, and then the very long story is through the Panama Canal, and then, island hop. We'd like to do Galapagos and Easter Island and Pitcairn Islands, and we'd like to do New Zealand, we'd like to do Australia, we'd like to do Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Thailand. I'd like to go to the Bay of Bengal, up to Japan. We've got kind of really big plans. A lot goes into that. There's obviously money, which is the biggest part of it. People, sailing is free, I guess, but what do they say? It's the most expensive way to get somewhere
Get around for free.
There are things that we'll need money for: boat repairs, food, marinas,
Orange juices.
Orange juices, upgrades, things that will break. So it's kind of a loose plan. And then the other thing is, of course, you have to plan when you go, how you go. There are certain times of the year that different places are safe and not safe. And we've got the trade winds and hurricane season in certain places. So it takes a lot of planning.
Would you prefer to do marina hopping or mostly at anchor? What would you like to do mostly?
It's a good question, to be honest. It's a mixed bag. We've had some fantastic anchorages around here. Sometimes you can go up to Swansea. One of our kind of favourite places is Oxwich, and you can go up there, and it is as calm as can be, and it is gorgeous. And you're at anchor, so everything is dark. You can see the sky. You have some fantastic nights. But the one thing that's true about anchoring is that you always sleep with one eye open, no matter where you are. Obviously, you're at anchor. There is always worry of dragging your anchor or the anchor coming loose and all this kind of stuff. So you do sleep with one eye open. And in a marina, you're much safer. You're tied up against a pontoon. You can sleep like a baby, which I normally do when I'm in a marina, especially if I've been out for a couple of days and I go in. So long answer to your question, but the short answer is a bit of both, really. I think some places in the world, if you can picture, Thailand in your head, for example, you can picture blue water all the way down with very little current and very little tide. These are fantastic places to anchor. I mean, here in the Bristol Channel, even in Swansea, we have sometimes 14-metre tides. I mean, it's crazy. And we've got a hell of a current as well, which you'd expect with a 14-metre tide, right? So going places where there isn't that. I mean, Thailand, I think, have got like a 1-metre tide. With that comes less strong currents and this kind of thing.
So, Mike, if we wanted to follow your journey, what's the best way? You were on socials?
I have a website, which I think you're going to do a little video of.
I'll put it in the link as well.
Put it in the link, great. I have a website, and I do need to get a little bit more creative with the website, but you can see who we are, our plans, things that we've shown you in this video, I suppose. But I do also put blogs on there when we go to trips, and I've started to do some how-to videos, but I'll increase that. We have a Instagram, a Yacht Dione Instagram, so you can follow that.
I'll follow you.
Yeah, follow us. Yeah, great. Yeah, and we also have a YouTube channel, and for now that's it. I mean, as we go later on,
Especially with the weather changing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is kind of my time scale. So I think I did mention earlier on, kind of short term, long term plans. Yeah. So how next year is Scotland, the year after that is Spain, and then hopefully the year after that will be further afield.
Just weekenders now, yeah.
Yeah, for now we're just weekenders and school holidays. But I'd like to be gone before I'm 50. I think I'm 44 now. I think I'm 44. Yeah, I don't think I'm 45 yet. I think I'm 44. But I'd like to be gone before I'm 50, so that we've got time to enjoy it. And then when we do that, we'll have, other social media you can follow us on. So yeah, keep in touch. I mean, it's all fun. I don't certainly claim to be the expert of anything at all when it comes to sailing. I'm a lot like everybody else that we learn as we go, but I'm not afraid to go. Mm-hmm. So we do kind of get out there a lot, and we do use our boats. I think a lot of people certainly in this club don't get out very often, and yeah, we try and be different to that. But yeah, keep in touch.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being fans.